Right, welcome back to the show. If you just joined us, this is Good Morning Ghana live on Metro TV. Time to check out our conversation with the Minerals Commission. And today we're going to look at the minerals and mining policy of Ghana. And it says ensuring mining contributes to sustainable development. I don't know if mining has passed the test of sustainability in Ghana. But this was outlawed in November 2014. So we're close to about 10 years of this particular policy is yet to be reviewed. With me on the show is the CEO of the Minerals Commission, Mr. K.Ayisi. Martin, good morning.
Morning.
Okay. Now, how come the policy on mining and minerals is almost 10 years old?
Randy, good morning to viewers.
Yes.
And those who may be listening wherever they will be.
Yes.
And it's a pleasure to be here again. I think today we're supposed to wrap up on the listing.
Yes.
Unfortunately, Abnamwa is caught up somewhere.
Right.
So her apologies. Randy, this is a mining policy of Ghana.
Yes.
If you look at page 58.
Yes.
Page 58, there's a specific provision that
12.0.
Yes, it says, this policy shall be reviewed after every 5 years, unless dramatic changes occur in the minerals and mining industry, in which case it may be reviewed as and when needed. So it means that even...
Maximum 5 years.
Yes, at least 5 years, the understanding is that that is long enough for a lot of water to have passed under the bridge. But... be that it may, it has taken us 10 years. But it's good. Nothing is late than never, you know. Because if you look at it, it even says, in which case it may be reviewed as and when needed. So it means that even a year after changing the policy, you can still go back and look at it. Like you take the critical mineral strategy of Australia. Okay? They passed one in 2022, and then they quickly changed it in 2023. So these things are...
On the basis of new development.
Yes. But then... I heard in your introductory remarks that it's not being reviewed. Let me say this. We have completed a comprehensive review of this policy. We completed it sometime in the beginning of, actually last year. And then we took our board through it. We took it to our minister. And then he's giving us the permission to go out for stakeholder. And some of the sessions he might even participate. So our first stakeholder engagement, occurred 2 weeks ago with all the CSOs. We took them to a retreat in Pedwasi. We met for like 2-3 days. Earlier on, we had given a document to them over a month. Okay? We gave them the 2014 policy. We gave them the explanatory notes for the various reasons why certain areas are being changed. And then we gave them a track version of the insertions we have made over a month. So they read it, and then we had a meeting with them. All of them came. I was there myself. We spent the weekend with them. We went through it. And then they also critiqued it. They brought their various comments. We responded. And then they requested that we give them a week or two for them to give us a formal memorandum as to what they think. And I'm happy to announce that they have submitted that last week.
The CSOs?
Yes, the CSOs. Normally I start with them. So that is ticked off. We've also met we've agreed on a date with industry. By that I mean all the mining industry, the mining companies, those who are into exploration, etc. We also treat them as a group. But typically when I'm meeting industry, I carry along the other institutions that have a relationship with us, like the Environmental Protection Agency, like the Administration of Stool Lands, like the Water Resources Commission, the Lands Commission, the Attorney General Forestry Commission, because, as to what to do with forests, mining, forestry, it's a matter of policy. And then sometimes we also bring in folks from the Natural Resources Unit of the Attorney General. Then we also invite, we'll get there. Then we invite the academia. So the F Science at Legon, the engineering, faculty. These days, they call it college or whatever, at KNUST, and then UMAT. So that will be industry, institution, and MINCOM. We'll do that, of course, with our ministry. Then we'll also do the various houses of chiefs, okay, because they're also a stakeholder. So we hope that the rest of May, perhaps the entire of June, July, we should have finished. We also put it out in a public domain for us to get memorandum, just like the way when they are vetting ministers, they ask you to send some documents on them. So we are hoping that by July also we'll have completed. We'll get back to our minister, and then he might, take it from there to cabinet. A statement is made in parliament, and then we'll adopt it. The politicians took most of our time, so perhaps I may have to talk about why are we changing. I've already explained that it's better late than never.
So even dealing with your draft, I'm sure that when it's eventually done, we'll come and deal with it. But dealing with your draft, over the 10-year period, what are the key things in the current policy that you believe ought to be amended, ought to be deleted, or things that ought to be added? If you can just take us through.
Yes.
That, yeah.
But before I say that, the deletion, the amendment, howsoever I want to describe it, were informed by 3-4 key issues.
Which
one, this is almost 10 years.
Yes.
It means that for the past 10 years, Minerals Commission, we've been implementing this. That's one of our core mandates, to implement policies of the government. Okay, in this case, in the mining sector. And what we have realized is that within the last 10 years or so, there were certain challenges in implementing this policy. There have been criticisms from the general public, CSOs, okay, from academics, everyone saying that we need to change course on certain areas. So that's one of the reasons. You understand that? And then, of course, 10 years is long enough. Technology has changed. A whole lot has changed. So ourselves have even seen certain things that we think we should change course. That's one. Then, apart from that, there are two key government policies. Two key government policies that are so crucial for us to ensure sustainable development. They are mentioned in the policy, but looking at what has happened within the last 4 years or so, it's not heavy. What are those policies? We've discussed some of them here. One is the so-called indigenization. And I don't want us to equate indigenization with resource nationalism, because see, out there in the West, the moment you mention indigenization, they think that, you don't want foreign investors. No.
What's the difference?
Well, the bottom line is that we want Ghanaians to also have a stake as far as the ownership aspect is concerned. The ownership aspect is concerned. Okay, so the new policy is looking at, look, let's go to the stock exchange so that people can buy. Because you see, the billions that come from outside are also coming from stock exchange. Many of the junior companies that are doing exploration here are listed in Perth, in Toronto, in Vancouver, which has more listed companies than any other stock market in the world. They are coming from London. The big guys are all listed there. So why don't we do a similar thing here? Do you understand? It's part of the ownership conundrum. Again, the other ownership thing is the state coming in now, not the state coming in to run mines. Because I told you in this studio that in the 70s, from the Champo era all the way to the early 80s, we were running Takwa as a state. We were running Prestea, Dunkwa Continental. We ran them down like the Gihok family, Ghana Airways. So the architecture of how the state or Ghanaian should come in is changing now. Go and list on the stock market, and then the MIF angle. The MIF angle now, where you have MIF investment in Atlantic Lithium, you have MIF investment in Asante and Co. Do you understand that? So those are the things that are shaping this review. And then Randy, of course, the issue of climate change. Okay, so enter electric vehicles, solar panels, you understand that? Charging stations and wind turbines. What do you need? So-called green minerals, copper, vanadium, lithium, cobalt. If you take a typical battery, which is made up of cathode and anode, the anode is graphite, the cathode is what? Manganese, nickel, cobalt, and aluminum and all those things. So that tells you that we also need to change our policy to capture that. What do we do with our... Of course, for now, we're working with those policy directives by cabinet that made us enter into negotiation with Atlantic Lithium. But then we will need to now amend. That was a directive of cabinet. We amend the main policy now so that we capture as to how to treat the green minerals. So that's the second point. The other point too is the fact that even Minerals Commission as a regulator, okay, the last 4 years or the last 10 years or so, we've also been having challenges. For instance, I have been telling you in this studio and everywhere I go that small-scale mining, we were the first to legalize is 1989. Young lawyer then, you're talking about 5 regions. 5 regions. Ashanti, Western, which now includes Northwest, then, Upper East. So we had an office in Bolga, Eastern region, Central. Do you understand that? These were the areas where small scale was taking place, 50 to 100,000 people. Randy, you're talking about 10%, if not more, or roughly about 3 million direct and indirect, whose livelihoods depends on small scale. 13 regions. Do you understand that? If you add, I'm talking about even gold. That's a major, thing now. Okay? If you add other things like clay and coal that are also being mined on small scale, then practically the entire region of Ghana. So it tells you that the policy issues, okay, arising from small scale now, the challenges we are seeing, and then what we need to do, is different from what you have in this policy 10 years ago. So that is also one. And then, of course, this local content that I've spent time in discussing. So value addition, indigenization, local content, small scale, all these put together, again, the challenges. And of course, every government comes with its own policy. Do you understand? Recently, I saw some excerpts of NDC policy that was shared on social media. This government has been in power for nearly 8 years now. So if every government can say, for me, or for our government, or for Party A, we want to do A, B, C, D. If some of the things are not well laid out in the policy, you have to change it. That is why if you look at that clause, it says that even though the policy should be reviewed every 5 years, it says, in which case it may be reviewed as and when needed. So if a new government comes and says that, oh, for me, I want to change course, it means that, God will, if these policies are adopted, a new person can come and say, look, this is my policy on mining, okay, or I want to implement this, so I want to go and amend the policy again. So by and large, or in a nutshell, these are some of the things that are informing the review of the policy, which I'm saying that we have completed. We are now in the throes of stakeholder engagement.
We'll get back to the 4 key issues, but on what you ended on, let me take your view. And this is, I'm seeking the view of a technocrat with expertise. Okay. Now, on the last part of your submission, shouldn't it rather be the case? Well, as we speak here, parties are finishing with their manifesto, and this policy is perhaps outdated. But assuming that we finish with the policy, shouldn't we have a situation where we rather have political parties or governments, whichever way it works out, now looking at the minerals and mining policy, and rather showing how they are going to actualize some of these things, and perhaps maybe prioritize them?
Let me say this.
You get a point I'm making?
I get a point.
That must the minerals and mining policy not rather form the basis for perhaps the mineral and mining components of manifestos of political parties?
Randy, let me say this. I want to believe that the NDC, like any other party, read this.
Yes.
They've been listening to this program.
Yes.
They've been following us on Ecosystem, Asempa and Co. By now, and I've seen some of the things put out there. In fact, let me say that, for example, many of the things I saw in the NDC, the briefs, I've not read the detail, But these are things that are already happening, that we are doing. It tells you that there are cognizance of programs like this, and they've been reading this thing. Do you understand it? Except that I didn't see how differently they do it. So, for example, if you say you decentralize the operations, okay? Well, then it means that it is informed by criticisms from the miners that perhaps centralization is hampering or slowing down the licensing process. But if you watch, if you've been listening to me, the last 2-3 years like this, there have been a lot of efforts at decentralizing. So I heard Ahiagba saying that in his recent forays up north, he saw a new regional office being constructed for Savannah. We didn't have a regional office. So it tells you that Savannah has been elevated to the status of a region. Other than that, we had a district in Bole, okay? And the entire Savannah was being taken care of from Wa. But Savannah is not a region, okay? Now, Wa is not a region because a new mine is coming up, so the district cannot handle it. Okay, it's just like the way Tema is a region on its own when it comes to policing. The regional commander for Tema.
Police now has 25 regions.
Yes, 25
Although
regions.
we have 16.
It's not conterminous or the same as
the political
So we have, for example, elevated Boga to the status of a region. And I'll tell you what it means in our regulatory, architecture. Savannah is not a region. Perhaps that has most gold now in Ghana. Okay? Why is not a region? Do you understand that? And even Takwa, which some of us call the mining capital of Ghana, with all those mines there. Now, when you say a region, as far as Minerals Commission monitoring and inspection is concerned, so what it simply means that you have the full spectrum of all the inspectors.
Okay.
So if you go to one now, you are like it's a district. Okay, now it's a region now. So the regional office is being constructed. Hopefully they will finish, I'm sure by the close of the year or the first quarter. I have a couple of features for some of the offices that we'll show in the course of the discussion when we are getting to the tail end. What it simply means that you now have an inspector in charge of mining. You now have an inspector in charge of processing or metallurgy, because there's a processing part there. You have an inspector machinery, electrical and all those things. Because at the district level, you don't have an electrical engineer because the district takes care of small-scale mining. But the moment you elevate it to a region, it means that the electrical engineer and all the spectrum will be needed. Cardinal will be commissioned hopefully by October, November. It's a new mine, huge, massive mine. It will be the third largest perhaps in Ghana after Ahafo and Takwa. So all the inspectors now are being shipped to Tamale, and then when the Boga office is ready, it's just about 30 minutes to the mine. And for us, when we are creating a district office, and I want people to understand it because I'm getting a lot of offers from chiefs and assemblies to say, oh, come and create an office. The creation of regional and district offices are determined by the concentration of the mining activities. Because I always tell this, my minister, who is an MP for Damango, could have created, if politics and political boundaries are anything to go by, he could have insisted that the regional office for Savannah should have been in Damango. But if you look at the entire Savannah, and I'm told it's the biggest region in the world, I stand to be corrected, but it is. The mining is taking place, or the resources are in the western half of Savannah. Okay, Bole, Tinga, Dakupe, all the way to the border with Ivory Coast. Okay, so he says no. After consultation, perhaps the fitting place will be Bole. Do you understand that? Why it's fine? Because Nadoli Kalio is nearby because of Azuma. So that's how we create regional office. Boga used to be the office for small scale. Now it's being elevated because it's 30 minutes from Namdin, where Cardinal is. But then we'll have a small district office in Bane. So that's what informs the creation of regional office. If you take Western North, for example, the new office is in Bibiani, because Bibiani has a whole mine. And just 30 minutes away, you have Chirano. So you don't need to put the office in Seshuyoso, which is the regional capital. You understand? So that is how it is like. But clearly, after going through the NDC manifesto, for example, I've not read the full details. I've seen the excess. Two things. It means that they've read this, they've been listening to us, they've been listening to our program. Except that, for me, many of the things that they are talking about are things that are already being done by the government. So I was expecting to see what you do it differently. Maybe but maybe when I read the main manifesto, I'll see how it's being done. Because you see, the assets were quite heavy on decentralization. It's happening big time. I mean, 10 offices are being constructed. 10. Some are regional, some are districts, etc. So it's happening. And then this issue of technology, okay, it's already being deployed. Maybe, I don't know if it is possible. I would love that in our next segment, if it's possible, we do it from our control room, where we track these excavators and all those things for the public to see. Our rangers, so that will be a discussion between Metro and my corporate affairs need to look at that. But today, because Sami Jemfi and Ahiagba took most of the time, I don't think we'll have the opportunity to delve into the key pillars of the policy. We might do that.
Let's start with some. So pillar one.
Pillar one is the issue of green minerals.
Okay.
So there's a section or a provision that talks about the fact that now we found some green minerals. We have some, we found some. So for example, we've been mining manganese for 108 years. We found graphite. A lot of work is going on. We have bauxite, which will be used to produce aluminium, which you use for these wind turbines and things. Okay? We have lithium. We have occurrences of even nickel, cobalt, and coltan. Okay? Even in some of our forest reserves. I don't want to mention names here. Okay? There's one particular forest reserve, lots of coltan and nickel and coal are there. You see? So that is it. Do you understand that? So we have captured.
So will your new policy be, will it be recommending that we enter?
To enter?
Those reserves,
no, Randy,
those forest reserves.
Randy, I've said this already. There is mining that is going on in forest reserves.
In Ghana.
And let me repeat. There is no law that bans mining in forest reserves in Ghana.
All manner of mining.
Let me explain. And the policy, all this will come out as to what do you want to do. You see, for example, the NDC manifesto, I don't know, maybe they will do it later on, I don't know. You are not telling us, for example, what is your policy on forest reserves? Are you going to allow it? Are you going to stop it? Those are some of the issues. So I'm saying that as far as I'm concerned, and this one is not as if I stand to be corrected because I'm the regulator, I lead the regulatory body and I know that for a fact. There is no express or we says that extracting a mineral is banned in Ghana in forests. Because you take Awaso. Awaso has been around since 1941. That's all about, over 80 years now. The entire Awaso concession is forest reserve. So we shouldn't sit here and create the impression as if mining in forest reserve just started recently. We are mindful of the illegal activities, the Galamsey and Co. that we know. Because I don't think there was Galamsey in the... Perhaps there was Galamsey those days, maybe they didn't call it that time because the colonial authorities didn't allow it, even Ghanaians, successive governments in 1989. You see, that is it. Part of New Motachim is forest reserve. Chirano is forest, even though it's underground. We have it all over the place now. So I have not seen any law like that. But then, of course, there are directives which says that prospecting in forest reserves are suspended until otherwise permitted by the minister. So even that one is underscored under certain conditions and all those things. I'm still trying to put together a tour for the likes of you and some selected journalists and even CSOs for us to go to Achim and go and see a place. Fortunately, because of technology, we now have before and after to go and see areas that were once forests that have been mined and reclaimed. And the likes of you will be shocked that we once mined here. Because by the time we're finishing a policy, one of the key questions we shall be discussing or be asking, for example, people, and then Forestry Commission will be there for us to answer is this. if you have minerals, occurrences, huge deposits in forest reserves that are deep-seated, where the only way you should mine it is by sinking a shaft. You don't touch the surface, and then you can bring the ore body to the surface and go and locate processing plants somewhere. Should we mine or we shouldn't mine? These are some of the things that we need to, and if you ask me my personal view, we should allow it.
You should allow what?
Yes, for example, I personally am in favor of allowing underground mining in forests.
Underground mining?
Underground mining.
Not surface mining?
Yes. Okay. And then I, the same person, I'll speak my mind. Of course, we also present Minerals Commission's views, okay? But if you ask me, should you allow, let's say, surface mining in areas where water bodies take their headwaters? That one we can say no. Should we allow mining in specialized areas like Kakum? No. So what we have been doing,
when you describe
Kakum National Park,
when you describe it as a specialized area, what do you mean?
Oh, Kakum is a heritage. It's a national park protected. Okay. Some of the national parks are special. That is not to say that some of them are not special. Do you understand what I'm saying? My worry is this, and I see that sometimes we behave like the ostrich. We want to pretend. The thing is going on. Nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to be the first person to stir the owner's necks or say it. But then the question is this. We should rather, because you see, we can't sit here and lie to ourselves. There are over 200 forest reserves in this country. And the Forestry Commission,
200.
Over 200 or so. And I'll get the exact figure from my colleague Alote and let you know. And we are told that 36 now, about 38 or so, are the ones that have been documented as suffering from some kind of illegal mining. Okay? Perhaps there could be several others where there are minerals. I know, because the report has been there for the past 100 years. I mean, Geological Survey has documented these things. Do you understand? There's even this, I don't know whether we should call it a joke, that perhaps when the British were leaving, or the Europeans, they, decided to create some of the forests reserve where the minerals are, so that maybe one day they will come back. I hear people saying that. But sometimes these things may not be a joke. When you listen to WikiLeaks and co, how some of these things are done. I think rather that what we should be doing, what we should be saying is that, look, the hard truth, the bitter truth is that the forests have a lot of minerals, several kinds. In fact, the minerals of the future are what you find in the forest. Coltan, liquor and coal. So for me, I think that the state rather should be spending resources and say, can we do a thorough mapping? Can we look for some money and give it to Geological Survey? Map all our forests, okay? Do airborne survey, etc. And then we now sit down as a nation and say, look, out of the 200 forest reserves or whatever we have, maybe 100 have all kinds of these minerals, okay? Perhaps some of them are deep-seated. So maybe those ones, we should have a policy and exploit them so that we follow all the protocols. Newmont, by the way, I'll take you there. Newmont and Chirani and Co. are following, or Ghana bauxite, which they've been mining for all these years. Okay? And then we can say, okay, let's have another category. These ones, maybe they form the headwaters of River Randi, River Isi, and River Sami Jefi and Co. So, and then when we mine them, that is the end of those rivers. So those ones, ring fence, hands off, we protect them. Do you understand that? That's the kind of thing that should be informing our thinking. But then you don't get up and say, we shouldn't mine at all in forest reserve, when there are billions lying out there, and when it could be done properly. Do you understand that? That's the way I expect the debates to go. Okay? Yes. But then, of course, Ghanaians should have every right to complain about illegal mining, and not just the forest, maybe the water body and all those things. So the debate should be done in a more organized manner. It should be informed. We should do it professionally. If at the end of the day, like it's unfortunate, maybe lack of resources, we can't do it well. If you go to Switzerland, everything referendum. Yep. Switzerland, the slightest thing, they say, let's go to referendum. If most Ghanaians say that, look, whatever the case, we shouldn't do it, so be it. You understand? But I don't see why people should get emotional about it. Do you understand? That's my personal view. I will favor mining underground in forest reserve. Okay, and as I keep saying, people react based on what they see on television. You understand? But when you take people to some of these areas and they see some of these things for themselves, they'll have a different view. So I will certainly organize, and even I've also told the parliamentary committee that I want to take them to some of these areas that were once forest reserve, that were given out for mining, and that have been reclaimed. Okay? And then we stop this ostrich thing and stop pretending that all is well. But I'm not in favor of blanket mining in forest reserve. Let's protect the headwaters, specialized areas that are icons like Kakum National Park, Yenku and Co. that have cultural significance and Co. We can say, look, whatever the case, let's keep them. That is how the debate should be going. Okay. And not to just get up and say, hey, stop mining our forest reserves and we are pretending. Ghana bauxite, 1941. Is it now that it has dawned on us? Or Paco War Hilishiake, we've been mining bauxite in 1941, and all of a sudden Etiwa has become an issue? Why are people not talking about Ghana bauxite? 1941, which was once a state entity, we sold it, now it's for Ghanaians. Why are we not talking about that and the focus is on Etiwa or Ninahi? So I want to believe that people don't have the facts, people don't have the information, but people are free to take any position. Okay, it's like this abortion thing in US. Some don't want it, some want it. So you cannot force people. If somebody gets up and say, for me, whatever the case, whatever the billions there, I don't want it. That's my view. We'll respect that.
Let's critique all the viewpoints.
Yes, we'll get that. But don't think that because you don't want it, others should also not air their views. That's the way I want us to see it. As I said, these are my personal views, not the views of government. My personal view is that I think where you find huge deposits of all bodies in forest reserves that are deep-seated, that the only way it can be extracted is to sink a shaft where you not disturb the surface. Okay? We shall allow, even for small scale. Other than that, perhaps my last question, I don't know, I asked some pictures to be shown on some of our office buildings. My last question is that many of the regions, there are 5 regions that make up the northern parts of Ghana. Upper East, Upper West, Northern region, Savannah, and then, what do you call it? Northeast. Okay, Randy, the bulk of the mining activities for small scale, underground. You go to Savannah, so rich, it's all underground. Dakupe, Tinga, and Co. Okay, Waka Waka, they are in forest reserves, they are there doing their mining. So what are we talking about here? I don't know. I brought some beautiful pictures. I don't know whether they've been uploaded. Other than that, Ahiyagba and Sami took most of our time. I would like to end it here. So next week, we'll go into details, many of the key pillars of the policy. And possibly, I'll see whether I can arrange for us to do it at Minerals Commission, so that you see how artificial intelligence and technology is helping change. Yeah, so, Randy, this is our new office in Akimodan. That is our office. I mean, the earlier one was a drone shot. But then, this is the new office. It is ready. It's all part of the decentralization efforts of the government, that we should bring monitoring and inspection close to the doorstep of the people. So this is Akimodan office. 5th June. That's one of my questions. Yes. Oh, I didn't know. I thought you were 100% gone. No. So 5th June, the Honorable Minister, in a huge ceremony presided over by the Omahin of Achim Kotoku, will commission this office building. That is it. And this is our model district office. Same office has been constructed in Bibiani. So 2 weeks after, we'll go to Bibiani and go and commission it.
Which one is this? A district office?
So this is the district office for Minerals Commission for Achimodan. Okay. Okay. But then the design you are seeing is the model office for Minerals Commission district office.
So you replicate this?
Yes. So the same thing has been done in Bibiani. Okay. So 2 weeks after Minister has commissioned this, he will go to Bibiani and commission it. Okay. So the decentralization is already happening. Okay. This will be hooked. You know, this is last week. No, this is Monday. They took it in the evening. Okay.
Where
This is Akimoda.
Okay.
And landscaping, everything done nicely. Okay, so all our offices.
You should have situated it at Abuabo.
Okay, and we even planted palm and coconut. Okay,
You should have situated it at Abuabo in Achimoda.
Oh no, you know the diamond, and there's a lot of small scale activities around Akimoda. Yeah, so
Abuabo in Akimoda. That's what I was saying.
Why is that's your hometown?
Yes, Abuabo.
Oh, that's okay. So the final touches are being done. Painting is going on. Everything is connected, and it's all decentralization.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Okay. That's beautiful.
Yes.
So we'll leave it here. We'll be here next week to continue.
All right.
Because we've only looked at one of the pillars.
At Minerals Commission. Because I want you to see how technology has been.
Let's finish with the thing first. The policy first.
But I'm saying we can have the next session in the control room of Minerals Commission, so that viewers get to see.
If we're going to do it there, it means that I have to do the entire show from there.
Well, I'll see how it is possible. But it's all about technology. And now we are tracking the excavators.
Oh, no problem. Once I drop the invoice and we'll sort it out, I'll move everybody.
Just to let you know that some of the things I'm seeing, some of the manufacturers are already being handled.
No, I don't have a problem. All I'm telling you is that moving Good Morning Ghana to the Minerals Commission entails
a lot.
Okay,
we have a week.
Once you are willing, I don't have a problem.
We have a week. So we'll see. We have a week.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Ayisi, for joining us.
But next time, don't allow them to take my time.
All right, okay. So we've also taken 20 minutes of the time of the sports.
You see, then in cascade.
Yes, so up next is Metro Sports. But before we go, let me say a big happy birthday to my soulmate, Mrs. Tesabe. Today is your birthday, so happy birthday to you, Davy One. Happy birthday to you.
To you a cake to be given to her, or you want gold?
Yes. Women love gold.
Okay, so that's her.
Yes.
That's your wife.
Yes.
And we'll get her gold.
All right. Okay. Well, it's also the birthday of our